Call the Onslow County Board of Commissioners meeting, regular meeting to order this time for Monday, June 1st, 2026. And we'll ask our county attorney, Mr. Brett DeSalms, to lead us in the invocation. Mr. DeSalms.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Today, as we declare June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month, we pray our community will play an active role in protecting the quality of life for each and every older adult and take positive action to promote the well-being of our older citizens. May all we do this day bring you honor and glory. Amen. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here today, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
At this time, we ask everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to acknowledge the elected officials that are here with us this morning. Mayor Pete Parnian from Holly Ridge, Mayor Rick Grant from North Topsail Beach, Mr. Rob Johnson with Soil and Water, and Sheriff Chris Thomas as well. Did I miss anyone that come in? We appreciate everyone being here with us this morning. So we ask that all in attendance, please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate mode at this time. And we'll move right into item 1, adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the agenda to remove item 2E, resolution 2611 in support of increasing the ABC manager's salary, and to add resolution 2612 opposing North Carolina Senate Bill 889 as item 6D.
Okay, so we need to do those in 2 different motions?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I think we can do them together, actually.
You can do them together. My recommendation, Mr. Chair, is we do them separate.
That's right.
Yeah, I think taking one at a time would probably make the most sense.
Read the first. Okay, so motion to remove item 2E.
Because we have a motion to remove item 2E. Is this to remove it or is this to remove it and place it on the agenda?
Remove it for later discussion, not during this meeting. I think
Perfect.
we needed a workshop to talk about
sir.
that. I recall.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay. Oh, sorry, I said yay. I'm sorry.
So that would be 5-2 to remove it. Is that correct, Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Okay. So that the motion carries 5-2 to remove that from the agenda for a later time. And now, Commissioner Bennett, did you want to make that second half of that amendment?
Yes, sir. A motion to add resolution 2612 opposing North Carolina Senate Bill 889 as item 6D.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
So
I think we're going to need to raise hands if we said aye.
aye. Those that support it, we have 3, 4. Those opposed it, 3.
Yep.
So that motion carries 4-3. Now we need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So now we're to item 2, approval of the items on the consent agenda. Is there any items on the consent agenda that anyone wants removed to discuss today? Hearing none, all in favor of, I guess we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. The board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting, and comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. So we'll start with item 3, proclamations. And the first proclamation is Elder Abuse Awareness, and Commissioner Bennett will present this proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The State of North Carolina, County of Onslow Proclamation Elder Abuse Awareness Month 2026. Whereas Onslow County joins the world in recognizing World Elder Abuse Awareness every June to proclaim the significance of elder abuse as a public health and human rights issue. And whereas protecting Onslow County's vulnerable adults is a community responsibility, and all citizens are charged under state law to report suspected abuse, neglect, or exploitation to their local Department of Social Services. And whereas in fiscal year 2026, the Onslow County Department of Social Services assessed 744 reports of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of vulnerable adults. And whereas elder abuse can take many forms of abuse, including physical, emotional neglect, abandonment, and financial exploitation, and it is for all citizens to learn how to recognize and report mistreatment, which can occur in families, long-term care settings, and communities. And whereas ageism and social isolation are major causes of elder abuse, and the way we treat our older citizens reflects our values as a society, it is our shared responsibility to ensure our vulnerable adults receive the support and protection they deserve. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about elder abuse and neglect and promote treating our vulnerable adults with respect and dignity while looking out for the well-being of our vulnerable citizens and valuing their wealth of experience and wisdom. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners recognizes June 2026 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month and encourages all citizens to dedicate themselves to protecting the quality of life for every vulnerable adult by learning the signs of elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and by raising awareness about this important community issue. Presented this first day of June 2026.
Representatives from the Onslow County Social Services will accept the proclamation, and they will join Commissioner Bennett at the microphone.
Good morning, all. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett, and the rest of the board for recognizing June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. As we become an older population across the nation, the importance of recognizing abuse, neglect, or exploitation is more important than ever. I would like to thank our community partners that have been active in our adult MDT, and encourage everyone to come to our World Elder Abuse Awareness event on June 17th from 10 to 12 at Jacksonville Commons. Learn a lot more about protecting adults, as well as information to support yourself as an older adult. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. Moving to item B, presentations. And before we move to hear from Onslow Memorial Hospital, I'll take just a couple of minutes to share a statement with everyone. And that's, we think this is a moment that deserves it. I've been a commissioner here since 2018, and in that time, I've watched lots of decisions get made. Budgets, infrastructure, public safety, decisions that shape what kind of place Onslow County is for the people who live here. And as someone who has spent many years as a principal before coming to this seat, I believe that the measure of any institution is not its budget, it's not its building, it's whether the people it serves are better for its being there. That has always been my measure in schools and here. I want to take a minute to talk about UNC Health because I think people deserve to understand who they are before we go any further. This is not a private company. There are no shareholders, no outside interest to serve. UNC Health is North Carolina's public health system, owned by the state, accountable to the state, and mission-bound to serve every community in this state. Their mission is to improve health and health care for all North Carolinians. That is all North Carolinians. And in North Carolina, that word carries real weight because this state has communities that are easy to overlook, rural counties that do not make the headlines, where access to quality health care is not guaranteed, where the nearest specialist is an hour away, and where families have had to make impossible choices because care was simply not close enough. UNC Health has a deep commitment to those communities, to those families, and to this county. Onslow County knows that story, and UNC Health chose to be a part of changing it. The commitment is not theoretical. It has been demonstrated here in the county over 7 years of partnership. You will hear about some of what that partnership has produced today. And what I've come to understand about UNC Health after 7 years of watching them work in this community is that they think differently about what it means to show up. Most organizations come to a community with a plan. UNC Health comes with a commitment, and there is a difference. A plan has an end date. A commitment does not. It has permanence. When UNC Health invests in a community, they are not thinking about the quarter or next year. They're thinking about the next generation. Workforce, facilities, technology, clinical capability, the services this community needs most, built deliberately over time with local leaders at the table. That's what it means to be the state's health system, not just in name, in practice, and in obligation. And here's what we find most remarkable about how they operate. Most organizations are guided by what is good for the organization. UNC Health is guided by what is good for the community. And that mission to improve health and well-being for all North Carolinians is not a tagline on the wall. It is the filter through which every decision gets made, every investment, every community they choose to serve. When mission drives the decision, the commitment looks different. It lasts longer and it goes deeper. And here's what we find equally important. When UNC Health deepens its presence in the community, local voice does not diminish, it grows. Local perspective is woven into how decisions get made, not as a courtesy, but as a requirement. Community knowledge combined with the resources and discipline of a statewide system. That combination is rare and it matters. I've served this community, we've all served this community long enough to know the difference between an organization that is here for us and one that is here for itself. UNC Health is here for this community, not because it's convenient, because it's their mission, because they are accountable to this state, to these communities, and to the people who depend upon them. That is who they are. That is how they operate, and that is what 7 years of partnership has shown us. We believe this, I believe this, and we believe this, me particularly as a principal and as a commissioner. And I believe that when you find a partner who shares that commitment, who has proven it year after year in this community, you do not just keep them close, you build something permanent. With that, I will turn this over to Onslow Memorial, Tammy Scarborough, and Will Bryant to provide us an update to the Board of Commissioners. Tammy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, I'd like to say how honored I am and privileged to be in front of you today to talk about our future together. I'm here representing UNC Health as the Chief Administrative Officer of the healthcare system and President of the statewide region. And we are truly so excited to talk about our future. Today, we would like to talk about our future integration with UNC Health and Onslow Memorial Hospital. To begin with, I'd like to just talk a little bit about who we are as Chairman Foster so beautifully articulated our mission. We are the state's healthcare system. We serve patients in all 100 North Carolina counties. We have over 20 hospitals and over 56,000 teammates. We have over 4.2 million physician office visits, and we have trained 78% of all the North Carolina UNC-trained physicians. We are so excited to bring all that level of commitment to healthcare to this community and to further advance care so that we can keep care more local. As we look at the 7-year journey that we've had with Onslow Memorial Hospital, we see tremendous advancements in workforce engagement and commitment. Our workforce at Onslow Memorial Hospital is more engaged, connected, and dedicated to serving this community than ever before. We've achieved the largest year-over-year improvement in teammate engagement across the entire UNC Health system at Onslow Memorial Hospital. The investment in our people is reflected in the quality of care that patients are receiving and the experience at the bedside every single day. We've expanded access to pediatric care close to home. Our partnership with our pediatrics division has significantly strengthened the pediatric capabilities here locally. Families, especially those with young patients and newborns, now have greater access to high-quality specialty care locally here in the community. We had and are able to provide innovative virtual care services with guidance and control and collaboration from experts and specialists in neurology, psychiatry, and other children's specialties and infectious disease. We've been here and partnered with you all on crisis response and community support at times of tremendous strain, including the COVID-19 pandemic and Hurricane Helene and other hurricane effort recovery. We have strategic community-focused planning. We've supported the development and execution of a multi-year strategic plan focused on improving access to care here and aligning investments with the most critical needs of the community here that we serve. And most importantly, we've been working to strengthen the financial performance of Onslow Memorial Hospital by leveraging our scale and resources, reducing costs associated with supplies, services, and operational expenses. These efficiencies have enhanced the hospital's financial stability while preserving essential local access to care. And we've improved patient safety and quality outcomes and done a tremendous amount of work around impacting the community's response to the needs of our patients in all that we do on a daily basis. This is done with the outstanding leadership team that is at Onslow Memorial Hospital, with all of the team members across UNC Health System, and our future commitment is to go even further in advancing care here. As you all may be aware, the future of healthcare is incredibly challenging, and partnership matters in managing all of the challenges that we see ahead and in advancing healthcare in what we know is a growing community. So to share with you all things that are attributable to all of your great work and the great work of the leaders of this community, we know that Onslow County is projected for tremendous growth in the coming years. And Onslow Memorial Hospital is the sole community hospital to meet the healthcare needs of that growing population. But today, a significant number of our Onslow County residents leave the community for care because we don't have the necessary access or level of specialties or level of care that we would like to have locally to be able to keep those patients closer to home. We also know that across the country, as well as in this community, we have an aging population with an increase in chronic disease burden. That will stretch care teams across all of healthcare and will increase the demand for coordinated longitudinal care, a tremendous challenge given the workforce shortages that we have. And we know that there are increasing costs for labor, supplies, and drugs, and that will continue to tighten the financial margins and the performance of all hospital and healthcare systems, requiring greater efficiency. We also know that there are impending changes in government reform around HASP and Medicaid reimbursement, which could materially impact Onslow's ability to fund those essential services that we actually need to grow to meet the needs of a growing community. And we also have to make sure that we're accelerating technology transformation. As we all know, as technology is moving so quickly to transform how we do business and interact on a daily basis with each other, we have to keep pace and resource those technological advancements. We also know that site of care investments necessitates robust ambulatory offerings and offerings that allow people to have choice in where they're expecting to seek care. And then finally, as I mentioned before, the workforce shortages specifically around caregivers and providers in all of our rural communities across all of the state of North Carolina, as well as across the country, will really require us to come together and have very intentional plans around recruitment and retainment and clinical talent coming to this community and staying to serve all of its citizens. And so we have come together to intentionally work on a strategic plan to integrate Onslow Memorial Hospital into the UNC health system, to leverage our collective strengths to be able to meet all of those challenges and advance care to meet the growing needs of this extraordinary community. Some of the things that we want to do to build a stronger future together is first and foremost is to advance the technology that we use to deliver care. The implementation of EPIC at UNC at Onslow Memorial Hospital will be transformational in its ability to provide built-in care protocols that elevate quality and reduce administrative burdens to those caregivers that are providing care. We have optimized the EPIC system, which is a nationally renowned electronic medical record system that is the foundation for delivering care nowadays. We've spent years building customizations and advancements in that system to make sure that we're building in hard stops around quality to protect and ensure that the highest quality care is provided on an everyday basis. We are also now leaning in on advanced technologies for artificial intelligence as well as virtual care to ensure that we are keeping up with the transformation we're seeing in the technology space. We also want to make sure that we address the care gaps that we see that cause that outmigration of patients from our community. We've done extensive analysis to identify service line gaps and access barriers to what leaves patients with no choice in providing care here. But we are looking to close those gaps, to build out those services and ensure that we recruit the top talent to serve our patients locally and close to home, so they can not only get care near their homes, but also so their families can be with them as they're seeking that care and in their most vulnerable moments. And excuse me, and finally, we know, as we mentioned just a few moments ago, that the challenges and the headwinds in healthcare and in the economic performance will be so significant that we will have to be really innovative in redesigning how we deliver care, in operating with tighter margins and smaller teams, but redesigning how we come together in a team-based format so that we can leverage every strength that we have and operate at the top of everyone's license to deliver care effectively, even with those tighter margins and smaller teams. We know that together with these core areas of focus, we can build the most incredible, strong healthcare system for this community into the future. We're making a commitment to the community and to this region. We have identified the coastal region as a brand new region within our healthcare system. We've gone ahead and hired a new president of this region in Ernie Bovio, who will be solely focused on advancing this coastal region and ensuring that care is built exclusively to manage and support the growing needs that we see here. As you can see from this map, we serve patients all across the state, and we are identifying regions to collaborate on care and coordinate geographically adjacent facilities to ensure that we can deliver on the promise of keeping up with the challenges that we face and still being able to grow. So in conclusion, I would like to first say we are so honored to be your future partner, and we are so thrilled to be able to advance care for this community. Our partnership is all about bringing care closer to home, making sure that we have an increase in services and specialty access, having a stronger clinical workforce that we recruit and retain here, improving quality experience and outcomes so that you get the highest quality care for every single citizen within this community, long-term sustainability so that Onslow Memorial Hospital is serving patients in this community for decades to come, and certainly to grow, to not only meet this extraordinary growth that you'll be seeing in the future, but to make sure that we're advancing care from a complexity perspective. And we're so excited about that work today and into the future. So thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to partner, and we look forward to that future together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that presentation. Was Will going to do anything, or was?
I'm just here for moral support.
Oh, very good, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that presentation. We appreciate it and look forward to what's to come.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If I may. Got feedback there. Thank you. I do want to just point out, we have Dr. Virginia Albano as well as Dr. Penny Dill here, the CEO and chairman of the board respectively. And I have the privilege of sitting in on these meetings as a member of the board, but I want the public to know the work that you guys have done and our improvements in the emergency department, as well as I believe it was talked about several times in the charts, the improvements in patient care and quality and risk assessment. Y'all have been fantastic, and I love being a part of that and being able to share that with the public, everything that you guys are doing to make Onslow Memorial a bright star into the future, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. The board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to no more than, hold on.
His budget presentation.
Yep, you're right, I'm going way ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
jumping, forget that. All right, let's go back to 2 under B, and we'll have Mr. Steve Eaton, our interim county manager, with our proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget. Sorry, Steve.
Great.
I was moving.
Threw me for a loop there. Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to present today's proposed budget for fiscal year 2027 for Onslow County. The proposed budget reflects our continued commitment to fiscal responsibility, strategic investment, and maintaining high-quality services for our citizens. The fiscal year 2027 budget was developed with a focus on balancing operational needs, long-term sustainability, and the priorities identified by this board and the community. Throughout the budget process, staff evaluated current economic conditions, revenue projections, departmental requests, capital needs, and the ongoing growth of our county. This proposal seeks to preserve the essential services while investing in public safety, education, infrastructure, employee retention, and future community needs. I'd like to thank our department directors, the finance staff, and employees for their engagement across the organization, for their collaboration and diligence throughout this process. The proposed budget being presented today is balanced on 55 cents, which is a reduction of 10.5 cents from the current year. Our total tax base exceeds $320 billion with 11.1 million in projected revenue growth. When looking at the differences between the general fund budget and the total budget includes grants, enterprise funds, and capital projects. This slide breaks down where our revenues come from within the proposed budget. 49% from real and personal property, 49% from real and personal property, 39% from other taxes and fees, for example, sales tax, motor vehicle tax, and our fee schedule, 7% from federal dollars, 3% from miscellaneous sources like grants, and then 2% from state funds. When we look at the county's planned expenditures, the vast majority are in 3 areas. 36% of this total budget goes to education. This includes the Onslow County school system and the community college, 30% to public safety, and 20% to human services. So 86% of this budget is made up in those 3 areas. The remainder of the budget is allocated to general government, economic and physical development, and cultural and recreational expenditures. Here you'll see the county's financial health. We have very strong financial policies that guide our revenues and expenditures. We have annual goals to both balance the budget and stabilize the tax rate. We have utilized 2 of our reserve fund categories to lower the tax rate within this current budget. These include the tax rate stabilization funds as well as capital reserve funds. In March, the board held a 2-day retreat. As a result, the board adopted a resolution to reaffirm the county's mission, vision, and core values and strategic focus. In addition, the board's primary initiatives were set, and we have used those to guide us in this proposed budget that's being presented today. Here you'll see the reaffirmed county's mission and vision. Each of these are used as the budget's foundation upon which the county's financial and service delivery decision-making is based. So I'd like to speak next to our core values within Onslow County. There's 5 distinct core values: resilience, excellence, accountability, customer service, and honesty, which form the acronym REACH. It's also important to highlight the core values as they're used to do several things: drive policy, set goals, retain high-quality staff, recruit high-quality staff, and guide leadership practices. I'll now speak to the county's strategic plan that was developed for years 2025 through 2030. Our strategic plan was put in place to provide a roadmap for our path forward as a county. The annual budget provides the resources as the vehicle for that roadmap for delivering on the strategic plan. The strategic plan is broken down into 5 strategic areas. All of the work the county does within the county departments is tied to at least one of these core strategic areas. These include fiscally responsible, high-performing government, community vitality, focused and sustained future, healthy and safe community. I'll show in some upcoming slides the accomplishments that have been achieved that tie back to these strategic focus areas from our current fiscal year. On this slide, you'll see 6 board initiatives that were developed during the 2026 board retreat, and I'd like to highlight 2, those being EMS and fire service. With regards to new EMS stations, we know that a total of 13 strategically located EMS stations will be required to meet future performance goals, meet the growth of the community, and improve response times. The board is committed to beginning the effort of funding the construction of 3 new EMS stations for 2027. These stations will be located in the general areas of Midway Park, Piney Green, Onslow Pines Road, and the Stump Sound area. Speaking to fire service, the board recently received the Fire System Master Plan report, which will guide our efforts to strengthen collaboration across the entire countywide fire system. This includes volunteer fire departments, base fire, municipal fire departments, and county-operated fire stations. The board recognizes the importance of enhancing our overall fire system through better communication, more coordinated training, joint purchasing agreements, and a unified approach to capital replacement and resource planning. I'll now turn to where organizational investments are planned, both within capital and personnel. Based on the current budget landscape this year, we analyzed all department position requests with the lens of needs and not wants. To provide context, there were a total of 72 positions requested by departments, and I'm recommending 22 new positions listed in the departments named here. To meet capital needs, I'm proposing the use of $2.8 million from capital reserves in order to fund the county's vehicle replacement plan, capital maintenance projects, and capital requests for EMS and the sheriff's office, such as ambulances and sheriff's office vehicle fleet. Those that have asterisks are not included in the $2.8 million funding. That funding was allocated for those items in this current budget year and will be rolled forward for continued efforts. On this slide, you'll see the total capital improvement plan that extends out to 2038. This includes funding for school projects, the community college, and county facilities. I'll now turn to our planned accomplishments for this coming budget year. Some of these planned accomplishments were identified last year, but they are continuing forward and worthy of mentioning as they tie back to our strategic focus areas. I'll start with the planned accomplishments in healthy and safe community. One that I'd really like to highlight is the Mobile Integrated Health Program. This is not a new program, but is rather an extension or expansion of the Community Paramedic Program, which has made tremendous strides in diverting non-emergent calls from 911 dispatch. A further expansion of this program is to include decedent transport, all of which will help to free up ambulance response times to emergent issues. The others include EMS station construction, fire system collaboration, the DSS Family Reunification Center, and emergency preparedness efforts. Here you'll see some exciting projects to enhance the vibrancy of our community, all of which present the opportunity to further grow partnerships with our municipalities, nonprofits, and other community stakeholders. For focus and sustainable future, the accomplishments planned for this area include a development plan for Burton Park, which was highlighted as one of the board's primary initiatives, continued investments in economic development, and the Orphan Roads Loan Fund. Next is high-performing government. The primary focus that binds these three initiatives together is ensuring we have the right people in the right places to provide high-quality services with a focus on excellent customer service every day. To achieve this, we offer professional development at all levels of the organization, as well as a focus on the use of the resources that we have at hand to achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness. The last area of planned accomplishments is fiscally responsible. This includes the equitable distribution of fire funding, a comprehensive debt management plan, a capital management plan for financing structure, and the ongoing pursuit of external funds that align with the strategic plan and the board's priorities. Heading into this budget, the county was faced with a shifting landscape at the state and federal level that has created significant challenges. Our focus from the very beginning of this budget process, and still remains, is to reduce the tax rate as much as possible while continuing to deliver high-quality services to improve the lives of our citizens. I'm now going to turn it over to Kevin Patterson, Chief Financial Officer, to explain these challenges in greater detail. Kevin?
Good afternoon. With the number of challenges, of course, the majority of our services, the 86% of our budget, they do go into the three core services, education, public safety, and human services, all of which we're required by the state and federal government to go off and provide these services at various levels. Anytime the state and federal government are looking at cutting costs, they are continually pushing down mandates into the county level without the additional support to go off and offset these increases. This year, we're losing $1.3 million of Medicaid reimbursement for staffing, even though we will see increases in demands for staffing to provide those same levels of services, as well as escalations in our public safety costs as well, just because of continual changes in legal landscape such as Katrina's laws impacts the cost of our detention facility. But one of the major challenges that we also did this year is looking at, of course, reevaluation. The primary purpose of revaluation actually goes back to a constitutional requirement that when we're taxing people, we can treat people of the same classification of taxpayers consistently. It's basically making sure that people are treated fairly as possible. So with that, we need to remeasure the values on a consistent basis, and in Onslow County, that's every 4 years. With this, with the current revaluation, the median household, and there are houses that are significantly lower, as well as multi-million-dollar properties in Onslow County, but the median household is approximately $350,000. With the revaluation, that meant that the median tax bill went from about $1,700 to just over $1,900. That is a $200 increase over the last 4 years for this. Now, of course, we also understand that this is a tax burden, and we want to minimize this and make sure that being good stewards of the citizens' money, that they are getting this value. But with this valuation, as there are 90,000 parcels, 60,000 of which are improved, that $200 on a median household magnifies across the county as a $20 million increase in property tax revenue. With the current bill, Senate Bill 889, this is looking to delay the current valuation for the January 1st, 2026 implementation for at least a year. We will still need to go off and make sure that this does not actually run afoul to other valuations to determine if this is simply delaying the existing valuations for a year, or if this means that we would actually be required to do additional revaluation in the future, which means we could actually just be simply losing $20 million of revenue in a year, which would need to go off and adjust the budgets for, or go off and have the additional $20 million in revenue loss in addition to having the additional cost for a revaluation in the future. So with those, as we move forward and going through adopting the budget, this is one reason why, as you have in the next steps, we are looking to have the actual public hearing on the budget at the June 15th meeting, and that has been advertised and it cannot functionally be changed now, depending on exactly what the state does with that legislation. It is likely not going to be the recommendation that the board not pass the budget on the 15th, but actually come back at a later date. It's still in the month of June to pass a balanced budget, because that $20 million shortfall will have to be addressed. That will go off, and then there will be some operational cuts that we can do to offset that. The entire thing cannot be cut out of operations because the majority of our budget is required by state law. But there are going to be adjustments, but even if we go off and use the reserves to maintain those for the current year, that will impact the 4-year financial plan that the board's been working on for the last year, as well as our 15-year CIP, making sure that that's funded at an appropriate rate so that we do not have significant spikes in tax burdens in the future. Thank you.
Concludes the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Eaton, Mr. Patterson, for the presentation this morning. We look forward to the comments and hearing from the people and for the public hearing on the 15th. Thank you very much. So now we'll move to public comment. So the board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, citizens shall address all comments to the board as a whole and not to one individual commissioner. Commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. So we'll move right into public comments. Mr. Eaton, do we have anyone signed up this morning?
Yes, sir. We have one individual, Terry Newts.
My name's Terry Newts, and I live in the southwest area, and I'm here to talk about the tax evaluation that was just done. Hopefully, the state will put a stop to it, because I think totally it's the way it's done. It's not uniform. It's the neighborhood factors are, in my opinion, outrageous. I mean, if you look, I gave each a sheet on houses that I pulled out of the public records, and like on Onslow Pines Road, which is approximately 3 miles long, we have 5 different neighborhood factors. I asked about neighborhood factors when I appealed my case, and they told me it was to make things even from my neighborhood to somebody else's neighborhood. And I said, well, that's not finding the true value of my house. I have asked the board, I sent the email to the board, I sent the email to the tax people asking them 8 questions about the neighborhood factors, and I have yet to heard anything about it. I've been fighting with the tax office since the first evaluation. My neighborhood factor was 1.33 when it came out. Today it's 1.05. It is no way that you can take my neighborhood and compare it to a neighborhood in the Commons, which has almost the same neighborhood factor. The Commons has 3 schools right in their neighborhood. They have a fire department right in their neighborhood. They have EMS right there in their neighborhood. So how is their factor the same as my factor? I don't think that's fair. There's the people down in, if you look at the sheet for the city of Jacksonville, you can see Carolina Forest is 1.01, and that is probably one of the better neighborhoods in Jacksonville. And I was paying 32% more on my property because my neighborhood factor was higher than theirs. New River, if you look at New River, and when I say New River, I'm talking about where New River Apartments used to be. The house I pulled in that area was on New River Drive. That house was built in 1953. Right away, it told me lead paint in the house. I looked at the factor, 1.53. That poor individual was being taxed 53% higher for the value of his house. The replacement cost goes up every year with the building cost. So his house has been climbing as far as replacement cost, and then this county comes out and adds 53% more to bring it up to, I don't know what neighborhood they're comparing him with. Belfort Homes. I pulled up a house in Belfort Homes. The first thing I noticed, asbestos shingles, asbestos siding. Well, that's a hazard. You take it off, it may cost you a fortune to take it off. Belfort Homes, they have a factor of 1.50. He's paying 50% more than the replacement cost of his house. And I don't understand how they can add that, and they add the neighborhood factor not only to your house, but to your sidewalk, to your driveway. It's added to everything. To me, the neighborhood factor should be determined. I think the county should take the factors that the real estate people say and assign a value point to them. Our schools, the crime rate, the fire department, EMT services, how close they are. I have a volunteer fire department that takes care of my house. Commons has a fire department right in their neighborhood, paid. So I don't think the neighborhood factor is fair, and I don't think it should be on there.
Thank you, Mr. Newts.
Thank you.
Mr. Eaton?
That concludes those signed up for public comment.
So we'll move to item 5, public hearings, and the first one will be on the Folkestone OFWB rezoning. Mr. Metcalf?
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and County Commissioners. First item before you is the Folkestone Original Free Will Baptist Church rezoning. It is PREZ 2026 number 2, and the applicant is Mr. Mitchell Parker. And obviously, the owner is the Folkestone Original Free Will Baptist Church. An overview of request number 2 is from R-8M, or Residential 8 Manufactured Housing, to Highway Business, or HB. One tax map number in question, 746-19, located at 133 Old Folkestone Road. The entire property is being rezoned, so the whole acreage of 3.74, and the existing use is a religious institution. We look at an overview of the service for the area. There's a 6-inch Onawassa water main along Old Folkestone Road. There's a 6-inch Onawassa sewer main along Abbey Lane, which is, again, a nearby adjacent right-of-way and easement. We look at the fire service is for Turkey Creek with an ISO rating of 4. Our traffic count comes from 2024 at 5,000 trips. Staff estimates the capacity 10,300 for a level service D standard. Schools serving the property are Coastal Elementary, Dixon Middle School, and Dixon High School. At this point, the middle school and high school are over capacity, but staff would say that the proposed rezoning would not increase any issues of those capacity at the school system. Here you can see the current zoning map. It is that R-8M, or that red color. And nearby is that adjacent blue color, which is highway business zoning. They're paralleling Wilmington Highway, or Highway 17. You see, the purpose of R-8M is to accommodate for moderate to high density single family and multifamily residential development, specifically protecting our manufactured housing and our manufactured housing home parks. Comparatively, highway business is to accommodate regional scale commercial uses, and again, or also our larger non-residential uses. For example, religious institutions with a capacity of 350 or greater are allowed by right in highway business zoning. Comparatively, if it was community business, it'd be by a special use permit. The comprehensive plan details this area of Sneads Ferry as rural residential, and it's to accommodate low-density residential development, as well as also some small-scale convenience, retail, and service businesses along our major crossroads and arterial roadways. We look at the land use and development summary. The current use of the property is non-residential, as it is a church. So we look at that non-residential summary, prescribe limited retail and service uses at those crossroads. And certainly Old Folkestone Road and 17 is a significant crossroad for Sneads Ferry. Here you can see again the future land use map with that pale yellow color, and that gray color is the municipality's designation from Holly Ridge. No environmental conditions for the property. There are no blue line streams on it, as well as no identified wetlands that have been submitted to county staff at this time. We look at reasonableness and in the public interest. It could be considered reasonable because highway business does align with the non-residential land use and development summary. It does not necessarily align with the residential component, and so that's why it's kind of a split objective. It aligns with coordinating with our Onslow County School District because we have 2 schools that are over capacity, and we would prescribe that this rezoning, there would be no additional schools for the school system, or no additional school children for the school system. 6.2 would allow for an appropriate location for commercial activity. Again, it's near the intersection, and in general, Onslow County is a pro-growth and pro-business attitude. Planning Board met on May 7th, and they heard the petition and unanimously recommended approval of the request. No citizens spoke against it, and no military impacts were identified. The remarks of the chairman of our Planning Board are as follows. This is a 3.74 acre property currently zoned R-8M in the Stumptown Township, proposed to be rezoned HB. The property is owned by the church, and Pastor Parker, the petitioner, was the only person who spoke. Their intent is to build a gym and expand the church, which is a non-conforming use at this time because the current zoning does not allow it. The rezoning was found to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. Here you can see the property of the church relative to, again, the surrounding residential that is along Old Folkestone Road. Here you can see a closer look of the church, and then also they have this existing parking lot to the northwest, and it is already zoned highway business. Here you can see where we posted right in front of the historic section of the church for today's rezoning. And it's respectfully requested the Onslow County Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of PRZ 2026 number 2, adopt a statement of consistency for the amendment, and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. This concludes the staff presentation, Chairman.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf.
Public hearing, sorry.
At this time, we will open the public hearing. Do we have anyone, Mr. Eaton, that has signed up?
No, sir.
All right, no one has signed up, so we'll bring the matter to the commissioners, and we'll close the public hearing, and now we'll take the matter to the commissioners.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Parker, Mr. Duff, thank you for your patience. Since the county zone, it's sort of put us behind a little bit. I hope this finally puts you in a position you won't have to worry about this anymore. So if when you do something else, it'll be ready to go. But thank you so much, and well needed, and your church is growing and the community is growing, and I hope you're the best in the future. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Padgett. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Mr.
well,
Davis?
also just acknowledge what y'all do for the community. I had the privilege of participating in your food drives that y'all do over in the building on the right as you're facing the church, and the volunteers are just fantastic, welcoming, and work very hard. So thank you for what y'all do.
Any other discussion, questions? All right. With that being said, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I had a request for a quick break, so we will take a quick break at this time, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Board of Commissioners meeting back to order at this time, and we'll move to another public hearing on the Wilson rezoning. Mr. Metcalf?
Yes, sir. So the Wilson rezoning PRZ 2026 number 3. The applicant is Mr. Jerry Mitchell, and the owner is Mr. Travis Anthony Wilson. We take an overview of this request number 3. It is from Residential 8 Manufactured Housing, or R-8M, to Community Business, or CB. Tax map number in question is 1004-4.1. It is located at 310 Sneeds Ferry Road, and this is another rezoning in the Sneeds Ferry area in the Stumptown Township. Rezoning area is the total property of 0.25 acres. The existing use is there's an abandoned, looks like it had been a previously retail shop on the property, and so the existing use is a non-conforming commercial structure. Water for the property is an 8-inch Onslow water main along Sneeds Ferry Road, and the nearby area is served by individual septic system, and the fire service area is the same with Turkey Creek and ISO rating of 4. Sneeds Ferry Road is, again, what this parcel is off of, and so we have a trip count of 5,200 from 2024, and estimated capacity of 10,000 for a level of service D. And there are no planned roadway infrastructure improvements at this time per Jumpo's MTP 2050 or P7. Schools serving the property are the same as before, for the middle school and high school. The elementary school is different, and with it being Dixon Elementary School. All 3 schools are over capacity at this time, but the proposed rezoning would not increase any sort of the capacity issues. Here you can see the triangular property that is the subject of today's rezoning, and the fact that it is R-8M. You can see that nearby light blue color is CB, or Community Business, the proposed rezoning designation. We take a look at the 2 districts. R-8M is designed to accommodate high to moderate density single family, allows for multifamily by special use permit, but has specific emphasis on allowance for manufactured homes. Community Business's purpose is to allow for small scale and retail service uses that would support that nearby community. Again, hence the name of Community Business. Its focus is to focus on what is essential for communities, small scale retail and service uses. The comprehensive plan details this area's waterside community. And its classification is intended for our unincorporated areas that have that significant nexus between both the traditional working waterfront, our estuaries, and as well also as the intercoastal waterway. When we look at the future land use development summary, we want to look at that non-residential because of the existing use and the proposed rezoning designation. And it would support small commercial and service uses that would support our coastal neighborhood, tourism, as well as also those water-based uses. Here you can see the entire area of Sneeds Ferry Road, Piru, and Fulcher's Landing Road, because again, their proximity to the water, all of them are that waterside community designation. For environmental conditions, there are no blue line streams, no wetlands have been submitted to county staff at this time, and no special flood hazard areas. Look at reasonableness in the public interest. It's supported by our future land use map. It designates the area as waterside community, and Community Business helps advance that. We want to provide a wide range of commercial activities, and especially those are at appropriate locations. It's near a significant intersection in that area of Sneeds Ferry, and commercial is designed to be around those areas. Non-supporting would be objective 6.1 because it would be less residential 8 manufactured housing zoning in our community if the rezoning is approved. Planning Board met at May 7th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the request. No citizens spoke against it and no military impacts were presented. The remarks of the chairman of Planning Board are as follows. This is a 0.25 acre property, currently zoned R-8M in the Stumptown Township, proposed to be rezoned to Community Business. The property has an abandoned commercial structure on it, which is in nonconformity. The petitioner spoke, and there are no other speakers. The rezoning was found to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. Here you can see the surrounding area. There's a variety of residential structures in the nearby area, as well as some other small businesses. See a closer look, there is that existing structure on the property, which the applicant has informed staff they intend to revitalize and come through the subsequent review processes that would be necessary. But here's where we posted for today's public hearing. And then also a little bit of a wider look there. You can see that structure that's in the center. It's the center right of the picture is that, non-conforming commercial structure on the property. It's respectfully requested the Board of Commissioners consider the proposed zoning map amendment of PREZ 2026 number 3, adopted a statement of consistency for the amendment regarding the comprehensive plan, and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. This concludes the staff presentation, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We will now open the public hearing. Mr. Eaton, do we have anyone that has signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. We have one individual, Jerry Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually leased the property from Travis Wilson, and I'm a business owner. And as it is right now, the only way I can do business out of that building is if I live there. So as you can see, the building is not a residential house. So I just want to have it rezoned where I can run my business through there. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Is that all the speakers?
Yes, sir.
And we will close the public hearing and bring it to the commissioners.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. We'll now move to item 6. General items. First one will be Home and Community Care Block Grant. Ms. Williams for our senior Melena Williams, Senior Services Director, will present this item. Ms. Williams?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm the new Senior Services Director. And I didn't bring my readers, sorry. The Home and Community Care Block Grant. Onslow County Senior Services is the lead agency for the Home and Community Care Block Grant here in Onslow County. This grant received annually from the Area Agency on Aging, Eastern Carolina Council, provides funding for in-home services, adult daycare, transportation, and nutrition services. These services are essential for monitoring health, promoting independence, reducing isolation, delaying or even alleviating the long-term care needs, and promoting social engagement. The total grant is $847,357 with a local match of $82,259, which will be met with Senior Services operational budget appropriation. No additional monies will be required. The approval of this contract is contingent upon the adoption of the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners consider approval of the contract to Area Agency on Aging, Eastern Carolina Council, and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county. That completes the Home and Community Care Block Grant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries, and welcome to Onslow County, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
We'll move, and I have Mr. Bradley Kinlaw, our Emergency Services Director, to present the item on the EMS Intergovernmental Service Contract Agreement. Mr. Kinlaw.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I come before you today with an interlocal agreement between the county and the installation. In every agency, there's times that we struggle mechanically with our equipment, and most recently the base was having some challenges with keeping their ambulances up on the road, and we were not able to facilitate loaning them a vehicle to keep them pushing forward. They found some alternative means, but in the future, we would like to partner with them through this agreement to allow them to borrow some of our vehicles, as they are a major partner in many areas, especially in EMS response. And daily, they're out helping us on and off the base, taking care of our citizens. So want to ask that you respectfully approve this and allow the county manager to sign the documents related to it. And on the backside, we will be pursuing a reciprocal agreement where we could borrow their equipment if we get in need sometime, so.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kinlaw. We'll now move to item C, and Mr. Brett DeSalms will present this item with the volunteer fire department contracts.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Onslow County has determined that contracting with and providing financial assistance to the nonprofit volunteer fire departments is in the best interest of the county, provided the agency can provide the level of service expected by the county and its citizens, and further provided that the county funding is utilized and safeguarded in a manner that is acceptable to the citizens of Onslow County. Several volunteer fire departments requested revisions from last year's contract. A committee was formed that met several times to negotiate the terms of a new contract that accomplishes the county's goals of providing excellent fire service and to safeguard the assets purchased with the taxpayer funds. In your agenda is the revised contract. This has been worked through with a lot of parties, a lot of volunteers put a lot of time and effort into it. I understand at their meeting on Thursday night that they did, the Fire Commission did vote to proceed forward with this contract. So hopefully all the individual fire departments will sign on it for it as well. But that's the request to approve this modified contract from last year and authorize the manager to execute the contract upon receipt of the contracts from the volunteer fire department. Of course, there's that excluded asset form that's attached to each of those contracts. The funding level has not been determined yet. As you know, the board's working to a funding formula. So whatever's approved in the budgetary process for the funding formula would be inserted into the contract. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to say thank you to all of the members of the various boards that invested a lot of time and brain power in this, and olive branches and discussion. Paul on board here, thank you so much. And Bradley for coming up with what you did. And same with you, Brett. I mean, really everybody that has been involved, I'm going to leave people out, but I just appreciate it so much. It was a really fine working machine ultimately, and I think it produced a good product. Thank you.
Yeah, this is actually a great, appreciate you guys' work, because to have all of our volunteer fire departments supported the way that we want to support them is going to be a good thing. Looking forward to having better communication, cooperation, and support for them.
Any other comments or discussion?
I'll just bring up the formula real quick and appreciate the work again, kind of saying ditto what Miss Lisa said, but Mr. Kinlaw and Kevin working together to come up with a formula. And correct me if I'm wrong publicly, but as I understand the formula, all the fire departments will see additional benefit over last year. I think all but one fire department, and even then we're level setting on that one. So they will get at least what they got last year. So I just appreciate the work and how and I want to appreciate the board too, that just the environment that the board has taken this go around with this contract has been so much more positive in trying to work with the volunteers and give and take. So I'm excited about what the board, particularly Paul, Lisa, and Tony have done to bring the volunteers back in as partners and not adversaries. And I appreciate the work that the three of you have done, because that's been a tough ship to turn. And so thank you for your work to do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Thank you to the committee, part of the committee, Commissioner Padgett, Commissioner Carpenter, and Commissioner Buchanan, and then the newly formed Fire Commission and Mr. Kinlaw, and Commissioner Buchanan represents this board on that Fire Commission. A lot of work went into it, and bright future, and things are moving forward in a very positive direction. So everyone involved, we appreciate that. So those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, Hearing none, motion carries. Now we'll move to item D, Resolution 26012, and we'll ask our County Attorney, Mr. Brett DeSalms, to read that resolution.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Staff was asked to prepare a resolution opposing Senate Bill 889, property tax reappraisal moratorium. I'll read the resolution into the record. Whereas the Onslow County Board of Commissioners is committed to equitable taxation, sound fiscal management, and the continued delivery of essential county services, and whereas Onslow County conducts property reevaluations every 4 years to ensure assessments accurately reflect current market conditions and ongoing growth within the county, and whereas Senate Bill 889 would require counties with reappraisals effective January 1, 2026 to suspend completed reevaluation efforts and would require Onslow County to temporarily revert to 2022 reevaluation property values. And whereas Onslow County has invested approximately 3 years in preparation for the 2026 reevaluation, including market analysis, field review, valuation modeling, taxpayer engagement, and quality assurance efforts. And whereas delaying implementation of updated values is projected to increase future valuation impacts on taxpayers and reduce anticipated county revenues by approximately $25 million without a significant increase to the current tax rate, while service demands and operational costs continue to rise. And whereas implementation of Senate Bill 889 would create operational inefficiencies, increase administrative burdens, and cause unnecessary confusion for taxpayers. And whereas the Onslow County Management has proposed a fiscal year 2027 tax rate of 55 cents, reduced from the current tax rate of 65.5. Whereas Senate Bill 889 would require Onslow County to either increase the proposed tax rate to maintain the current level of services provided or eliminate/reduce non-mandated services. Now therefore be it resolved that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners formally opposes Senate Bill 889 and any similar legislation that interferes with locally administered property reevaluation processes and county fiscal authority. Be it further resolved that the board respectfully urges the North Carolina General Assembly to remove Onslow County from Senate Bill 889.
Thank you, Mr. DeSalms. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is a very difficult conversation, and I hate property taxes just as much as anybody at this table. I'm sure all of us do, but there's a bigger issue here than just 1 year revaluation. We haven't changed our tax rate in 4 years. And you've heard our finance officer say that we're budgeting for 4-year financial stability here. And if any of you know anything about compound interest, you know that every year we delay the hundreds of millions of dollars in capital requirements that we have over the next 10 years. It's going to cost us more and more to make those capital improvements. It's going to cost our county taxpayers more and more. I think what really bugs me the worst is our General Assembly, excuse me, our General Assembly dictates everything that we do. This tax valuation, reval, the rules were promulgated by them and by the state legislature and statute. And it is people whose values went up. I feel for them, but if we're going to have a fair property tax assessment, or you gotta pay for what you got. I wish we didn't have property taxes. I wish there was another way to do it. But this is, we have sat through months and months of budget meetings and worked very hard to make sure that we get the lowest tax rate that we possibly can for our citizens. And we have not had a single one of our state representatives sit in our budget meeting and hear. They don't know how Onslow County's budget works. They have no clue. And they don't understand that we're budgeting for 4 years, 10 years down the road. And, you know, it's not, this fire formula we just voted on. I mean, that's going to change significantly if we have to cut $25 million out of our budget. And then that doesn't even get to the bigger issue of local control. I mean, do they want to run the county? They can do that if they want to. They can tell us all to go home, and they can let the governor come down here and run Onslow County. They have the authority to do that. This is about local control. Our people know what the needs of the county are, and we listen to our people, and I feel like we have a good handle on what the needs of the county are. And if we don't have any authority to serve the needs of the county, then I'm not sure why we're here. So this is just a really bad idea by people who really don't know what they're doing. And I would think that this board would unanimously object to what the General Assembly is proposing in this legislation. Now, if they want to change the way of the reassessment, if they want to change, I totally agree that there got to be better ways to assess property values. It is ridiculous for us, Onslow County, to have to assess over 100,000 parcels in 1 year. If we hired an appraiser to do every one of them, we'd have to have 4,000 appraisers to do it in 1 year. And it's crazy the way the system works. But we can't change the system. Only they can change the system. We have to work within the system that we have. And the ramifications of putting off this valuation for a year, look at all our people who have worked so hard on it in the past months. Our poor tax department has been inundated with irate citizens, and they worked hard to adjust values where it was reasonable to do it. And we've had our Board of Equalization review sitting right next door for weeks now. They're working hard to make sure that where there are variances in the assessment or in the values, that they meet those changes. And we're just going to tell them all, hey, you just wasted your time. Go home. You didn't need to do all that. It's over. We're just going to go back, and you can start it all over again next year, and maybe you can do it all again next year. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Just doesn't make. It may be nice. The public may like to hear it. They might think that, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world. But they don't understand that it's going to cost them in the future. It's going to cost down the road even more. So I am in favor of this resolution and absolutely opposed to Senate Bill 889. And I hope y'all are too.
Well, let me I'm going to kind of break this down for me and my logic. First of all, we have two issues here. The first issue is this board approved the 55 cents per $100 tax rate. That's issue number one. That's a done deal. We've approved it based on the current tax appraisal. Number two is the moratorium, which I haven't, as a commissioner, was contacted by any of our state representatives as to what my opinion was until the 11th hour, and even then I wasn't contacted. So I'm going to do this so that you can see my logic and the logic of some of the people on the board as to why I am opposed to the moratorium. I can't speak for the whole board. Mr. Patterson, do you have a couple minutes to answer questions, just for real quick? I appreciate you. Number one, this is Mr. Kevin Patterson. He's our finance director, and he's brilliant. He really is. He's got a grasp of what we do. He's been very candid, and he's very forthright. So at the current rate of 55 cents, which is 10.5 cents drop based on the current appraisals, am I correct?
Yes.
If this moratorium goes into effect, we will be basing our current budget on last year's or the current tax rate that we are in now at 65.5 cents, correct?
Correct.
If we proceed that route, it's going to cost us money because, number one, we have to do the reval again. It's going to cost us some money to do the reval with pamphlets and all that stuff. So it's going to cost more additional taxpayer money, correct?
There will be additional costs with the delay, yes.
Okay. We don't know what that cost is. It could be $500,000, $400,000.
At this point in time, it may be, depending on what the full legal impact would be, it could be a couple $100,000, or it could be well over $500,000 if we have to do an adjustment into our commercial property schedule of values.
Okay, so if we go in the moratorium and we're with our current budget and we use it based on the 22 or 24 tax rate, that's going to cost us money because we're going to have to make cuts within our budget. Am I correct?
The current, with the $22 billion valuation at 65-cent tax rate, that would be approximately a $20 million reduction in revenues compared to the proposed budget.
Okay, so with the moratorium, we're going backwards.
Yes.
$20 million backwards. But yet we somehow, you, with the work of all the commissioners, were able to get the balance, to reduce the tax rate to 55 cents and to maintain the services that we currently have right now.
Correct.
Well, to me, it doesn't make any sense to go backwards because our job up here as commissioners is to not look out. Our job is to look out for the citizens, which we are a part of being citizens. I'm a resident of the city, and my tax rate is double those in the county. And anything I can do to reduce the tax rate, not for me, but as a whole, as a citizen, at 55 cents per $100, and to keep the current services available, instead of basing it on last year's tax rate and then to wait another year to spend more additional money for another tax appraisal. And during that time frame, the appraisal is going to go up. Am I correct? The evaluations.
With current property tax rates, properties are probably increasing about 10% a year for Onslow County.
So that's an additional 10% on our current one that we just reduced the tax rate to.
If we did a new valuation, if a plain reading of the legislation would just roll the current valuation forward a year, so the revaluation notices that just went out may have to be reissued, but it would be conceivably the same revaluation for most households.
And so, okay, I understand all that. And again, like I said earlier, my job is to make sure I'm against taxes. I'm like Mr. Bennett. Taxes are a necessary evil that I can't stand, especially living in the city, get double whammied with property tax, vehicle tax, you name it. We worked hard, and I know you did and your staff, to work within our budget to meet our needs and to reduce the tax rate at the same time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I really appreciate what you did because you did a wonderful job, and I feel comfortable, and so does everybody else on this board, at 55 cents per $100. But I guess the question is, I don't want to be part of this moratorium. I want an exemption for Onslow County because this would affect us and impact us, not us, the citizens of this county in a very negative way. And so instead of seeing your tax reduced as far as the ad valorem, it's going up. If we stay with the present stuff, am I correct?
If you stay with the current value, you would be requiring and maintaining the 65.5 cent tax rate instead of the 55. That would result in the $20 million loss in tax revenue. At 55 cents, that would be an additional loss.
So let me ask you one of my last questions. we maintain the current tax rate, there's a good probability at 65.5 cents per $100 in the next year or two, that tax rate is going to go up.
Yes.
That makes no sense to me. And that's why, it's our job up here as commissioners to look out for the citizens, and that's what we're trying to do. Everything is going up in prices. We need to mitigate that. And by doing this moratorium makes no sense where I have to pay, instead of 65.5 cents in the future, maybe end up paying 70 cents to maintain the current status and services that we have now. Correct?
If the current valuation does not change, to get the revenue projected that's in this budget, it would need to be approximately a 75-cent tax rate to generate the same.
Did you say 75 cents?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It would be 75 cents to generate the same tax revenue as is in the proposed budget in front of the board.
I'm going to ask you a very direct question, and you don't have to answer it, but I just want your opinion. Should we stay, or should we move with our 55 cent per $100 budget that we've got now and ask us to be exempt? What is your opinion? I'm just asking you, because I value your opinion.
With this, until there's action on the state, adopting a 55-cent tax rate on the 15th, if the state has not made up its mind, I think would be would cause significant problems for the county. So that's why I said earlier, if the state does not take action this week or before the 15th, I would recommend that the board not pass a budget until the end of the month, at which point in time a tax rate can be set that will actually meet at least a short-term need of the county.
Well, going back to one last thing, going back to what you said, Mr. Bennett, I don't know why, as commissioners, since we are in charge of the local government, since we are in charge of the budget, that we're being dictated by Raleigh, and they have no clue as to what we're doing. So why are we even sitting here, is my question. Why do we have commissioners who are voted by the public to look out for the interests and speak for the citizens on the budget? Why are we sitting here if it's going to be dictated by the state? Let them come in, like Mr. Bennett said, and run this council. And the reason being is because they don't have the ear of the citizens, because they're not here to listen to the citizens. They don't attend the budget meetings. They don't attend all the ad hoc meetings. They don't attend. That's why we should be here, and that's why they should leave it to us to look after the best interests of the citizens. Mr. Patterson, thank you very much. I appreciate all that you've done and continue doing a great job. So I am fully supportive of this moratorium, that we should stop it, because to me, it's damaging to the citizens of this county. And I don't know about you, but I'm not paying 75 cents per $100 on my tax bill. That is ludicrous. And that's where the potentiality of this lies. So I just want to throw my 2 cents out. I'm sure we have some other arguments, but I'm for the moratorium being squashed. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Carpenter?
I will just say that I will just say that I don't support the resolution. I don't know that we will gain a whole lot by the resolution. I think this board has done a tremendous job, along with staff, on this current budget to get it down to 55 cents. But with that said, we are effectively, cash out of pocket is being increased as if we were raising the tax rate to 72 to 75 cents. So to me, this is, and I guess I go back to my computer language, and there's a line in your computer program that doesn't do anything. You call it a no-op. It's a no operation. And so regardless of whether we stay at the current valuation or whether we are forced by the state to go to the old valuation, if we were to look at our 65-cent rate and increase it to 72 cents, we wouldn't be doing anything that we're not doing in the current budget. So to me, we're effectively not really doing anything by approving the resolution. So that is where I stand. I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Just in a nutshell, I wanted to say that contrary to some things that were being said earlier, it's not that I am for the moratorium or against, let me get that right. Did I get that right? I just disagree with, I am in favor of us not being included in that moratorium. However, I think that there's other ways to accomplish it without doing a resolution.
Anyone else? I agree with the fact that all this work's been done, and it has been a great job. And there's a lot more than a moratorium hanging over the heads right now. They're looking at a referendum in November about giving the General Assembly the power to cap increases in sales to our property tax yearly, which they don't need that referendum to do that. General Assembly already has the power to do that. It's just a play in the world of politics to put it into the hands of the people when they already have that power. Resolution does hit on a lot of things that will impact this county. There's a lot of good things that are going on. Right off the bat, Onslow County funds education in the top 8 in the state. So there's 92 other counties, not including the city school systems, that do not fund their local schools as well as we do. So absolutely, this new budget would be fantastic. Commissioner Davis did make a point. Tax rate is really the biggest thing you worry about is how much money is coming out of your pocket, whether it's 65.5, 75.5, or 55.5. All those numbers, if we raised it, those numbers are all going to come out to about the same out of your pocket. The dangers of the moratorium is the fact that the values are going to increase. The cost of doing business is going to increase. But then again, what's the cost of a resolution? They're already talking about taking Onslow County out of the moratorium. We've had those conversations. It started months ago for other reasons. Just go back and start reading why it was done. It wasn't necessarily done to benefit you, it was done to benefit others. I don't support the resolution because I think it's our delegation is gonna have to make a decision, and they already know how we feel. This board is unanimous in the fact that we don't want the moratorium. And I want everyone to understand what that does. If we don't increase the tax rate in this moratorium, if they have a moratorium, then we're going to have to find another way to find the money, whether it's a tax rate increase or whether it's dig into your fund balance more, or it's not do some of the things that we projected. We have a resolution that we're going to meet the cost of living every year for our citizens. We have merit pay. We have deputies, detention officers. We have schools that need to be built. All these things need to be done, and the people in Raleigh know how we feel. We have shared that. For them to put out a moratorium, that's just trying to pit the commissioners against them because they like to say that local government is out of control. We've got to limit what they can do. Well, they forget, on the other hand, they're cutting the Medicaid that they're paying from 50% to 25%, which costs the county $1.5 million or more a year. So it doesn't matter how we do it. Just everybody understand it's a chessboard, and every one of them's playing a game. That's all they're doing, is playing a game. And 80+% of our budget is mandated. 80% plus is mandated. So it's all started as a ruse to get people elected or get people through their primaries. It started months ago. It started back before March. And here we are a month away from having to approve a budget, and this is on our front doorstep. I disagree with the moratorium, yet I disagree with the resolution, and I hope our delegation in Raleigh makes the right decision and removes Onslow County from it, because we need 4 more at Department of Social Services, because we have to meet in the House bill.
Mr. Chairman, call the question.
Well, I'll finish. Everybody else did. So those
Call
are
the
things
question,
that are
Mr.
being
Chairman.
done. All right, let's vote on the call to question. All in favor of call to question, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? No. So it sounds like some voted and some didn't. But that's the bottom line. So calling the question doesn't make any difference. I'm against the resolution. So all in favor of the resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. So it goes through 4-3. Congratulations. We'll move on now to consent item agendas. There are none, no closed session items. Mr. Eaton, you got any comments?
Just want to remind citizens that today is the start of hurricane season, and want to encourage citizens to pay attention to their emergency plans, disaster supply kits, and stay in touch with county communication. And just lastly, a thank you to this board and this staff for all the support and work that went into the proposed budget.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, who wants to go first?
I will, just real short and sweet. I said it in our workshop, but I'll say it again. Kevin Patterson and your team, thank you so much for really making this a pleasant budget workshop season, if you will. I think all of us would agree that we gained a lot more understanding than we've had in years prior. So thank you very much for that. And have a great week.
Any others?
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate the budget workshop too, all the work that we've done on the budget. I hope that the chairman's right and our representatives understand that all of us opposed the moratorium. Hate that we couldn't be unanimous, but I also want to remind the citizens of Jacksonville that they're going to pay Jacksonville property taxes. The other towns too, all of our local municipalities are going to have a tax rate on top of what the county does. So we get blamed for enough, but we don't need to get blamed for what the city of Jacksonville or other towns charge you in property taxes, because that's not our fault. I'm going to pay, like Commissioner Knapp, close to at least double what others in the county are paying for property taxes. And I do it I admittedly, I like being in the city, and I pay it. It's a difficult check to write, but I understand the advantages of being there. So that's my choice. But anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. It's been a long, 2 hours almost. And hope y'all have a good day. Thanks.
Next.
I'll go ahead and say something for what it's worth. I just want to say this board needs to keep in mind that we are a board to represent the public. This issue, and we're going to have other issues that don't always agree with each other. But at the end of the day, the citizens what counts. And we need to keep that in mind. Our delegation has been asked about this moratorium. I supported the moratorium because I want them to understand they don't need to take over local government, and that's where it's headed. This county right here has survived by mandates, by laws that we have to do revals at least every 8 years. We chose 4 years. And we need to abide by the law as well as they need to abide by the law and quit playing politics. And that's what this whole issue is about, is strictly politics. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about politics. Who can I get elected? And that's not the way the government should be. It should be what's good for the people and best for the people. And as long as I sit on this board, I'm going to be good for what's good for my citizens of Onslow County. They're the ones that come first. I don't care what the other 99 counties do, but I do care about what Onslow County does. And I'm going to stand up for her as long as I live. And that's my comments. Thank you, staff, Kevin, and everyone that participated in the budget. We worked hard on it, fought back and forth tooth and nail. But at the end of the day, I want to say this one more time to this board. We got to be unified as a board for the betterment of Onslow County. Thank you, and everyone have a good day.
Next.
Oh, you already talked? All right, well, I'll go.
Push on.
I'm on, thank you. So just so y'all know, Robin calls me Slash because I'm the guy in there always trying to cut the budget. So we'll just go ahead and get that out in the open. But I do appreciate what the staff has done. The staff took it up a notch this year in terms of level of detail and explanation and progress. And so just thank you for the staff for all the work that was done in depth and bringing a greater depth of understanding of what you guys do and what your needs are. Budget time is always tough, and as you guys know, I'm a neutral guy. I like to see how we can make it on natural growth. But I will say that this board worked very hard as a team. I want to use that word team. You don't hear that much out of me up here, but I think this board really came together as a team to really work and exercise the tax rate with the assessments. I'll be the first to tell you I don't like the assessments. I don't like the formula. I think something's broken in the assessment formula. And that's not a reflection of our guys as I understand it. That's a reflection of what comes from the state. But something doesn't make sense as you talk to different folks in the community. And as the gentleman presented earlier, there's things that just don't make sense. But it is where we are, and we're trying to, we are, outside of the state doing something, cutting the tax rate by 10.5% or cents, excuse me. So I'm very thankful for that. One of the two things that I think are very important that we are going to be doing on our budget that I will highlight. One is EMS. It's been a year, and one of the things that I hear still is about EMS, and so I'm very excited that we are continuing to put focus on EMS and give them the necessary facilities and buildings that they need to be successful. There's one of the buildings that I got to take the tour of, and I was shocked. And so I'm thankful that we're going to put the money in to allow our EMS program to be successful. The other one has been discussed here a couple times, which is helping our elections be successful and giving them additional resources, and we're actually hiring somebody there to help them. And elections is important to all of us, and election integrity has been a crazy conversation over the last 6 to 7 years. And so I think that's one thing that we can be proud of in North Carolina and proud of in Onslow County is election integrity. So I'm excited that we're helping in those areas as well. So I look forward to the debate and the further discussions. I think it's been good. But again, thank you to the staff. And Steve, we put you in a hot seat, and man, you've held on to that bull and you have not gotten bucked off. And so well done to stay in the corral and keep doing everything that you're doing, sir. So thank you.
Anyone else before I go to Vice Chairman?
Yes. I want to thank everybody for being here. One of the things I guess we forgot is some of the other people that have worked so hard. Bradley sitting out there in the audience from EMS, and our EMS director. Ricky Hardison, J.R. Marks, the chair and vice chair of the Fire Commission, along with the two commissioners that sit up here with Lisa and Tony. There's a lot more people that went into working with this, and they worked very hard. Thanks to our attorney. Our attorney needs to be thanked also. You did a lot of hard work, and I can remember last year when we did this We met with them out at the base, and at Jacksonville Fire Station, and that was not a very happy place to be for the three of us plus you, and that has changed. In the last year now, the working relationships that we have with the fire side of the house is just outstanding, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And thank you all for the budget. I mean, I've never seen such a good budget. Kevin, the outstanding work that you did with that budget was amazing to me. I mean, it brought a lot more to light than stuff that I have seen in the past. I want to thank you all. Thank you.
Vice Chairman.
Just a couple things. I just want to, reiterate to Kevin what a great job your department and to Steve in putting this budget. We've had some discussion, and let it be known that all the commissioners out here that are sitting on this dais now are thinking about the citizens. We're thinking about the citizens and what we can do to make it a better place to live. Some of the things, I will reiterate, just know that this board is united. Even if we disagree on issues, we are still united. When we walk out of here, off of this dais, into the parking lot, we're united with it, with every decision. There have been decisions that have been made in the past that I didn't agree with, and the board agreed with it and passed it, and I walked out of here thinking, okay, I said what I had to say, and they didn't agree, but it doesn't matter. It passed. Now I support it because it's a board decision. Whether we have our own individual disagreements, when a board makes a decision, we support the board decision. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the way I look at it. And we're supposed to move on. And I really appreciate the opinions. Now, for me, when I asked Mr. Patterson to come up, I'm very direct. I just want to hear the facts, so to speak. What makes sense. And when I was asking him a question, it wasn't for you, it was for me as well, so that I could regurgitate and then get it ingrained in my head that I understand the situation perfectly about the budget, because I'm not the expert. Mr. Patterson is. Mr. Eaton is. Those are the experts. Those are what these guys get paid to do. And you have to take those terms for my sake and simplify it so I can understand it. Break it down for Robin so I can understand exactly what this means. And that's the only way I know how to act. I'd probably write with crayons if I didn't have pens, but I mean, that's just the way I am. And I want to really I appreciate the staff for listening to all of us. I appreciate the hard work, because it's been, the biggest thing on our mind was the tax rate. Reduce the tax rate, reduce the tax rate. Believe me, that was a topic of our conversation. That was a topic at nighttime conversations on the phone with each other. Every time we saw each other, how do we reduce the tax rate and to keep the services that we currently have? And how do we make improvements within the county? We try to do it at the lowest possible rate. And I'm very appreciative of a staff that listens. We gave Mr. Patterson 3 choices. Start at revenue neutral, start with our current tax rate, and what is your best estimate is how we can survive. They came up with 57. We got together, we worked it out. We came up with 55 cents per $100. And that I'm proud of. And that was because of this board working together, negotiating, and seeing what we can do. And I don't know how to put it, but this board worked very hard to get that tax rate completed. As far as a moratorium is concerned, we have one viewpoint and we have another viewpoint. Both are valid points. I may oppose a moratorium. I may be proven wrong. They may be proven wrong. It doesn't really matter. We voice our opinions. It's done. And I really appreciate everybody being attentive and showing up. And this has been a very taxing, not to use, no pun intended. That was pretty good. I did. It's been a very taxing season for the budget, probably more so than I've been associated with since 2016, trying to find ways to lower the tax rate. And again, my hat's off to you, Kevin. And I really do appreciate your candor, your directness, and just your approach. Very professional and right to the point. So the dummy, I can easily understand what you're saying. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Commissioner Bennett, did I skip you? You went first? Okay, I couldn't remember.
You didn't hear him whining?
Hey, he spoke a long time last time. I'll check on you. You know, a lot went into work. Good job. And there's obviously, not the correct vice chairman, we have not approved anything yet.
Well, that's true. I'm sorry.
And so we have a hearing on June 15th, and that's when we may approve it then or not. But right now, it's just in draft, and it's going to the citizenry to take a look at that.
I stand corrected. We are in agreement. My bad.
Didn't want anybody running around thinking we've done it. We have not. And the work that would have to be done if they don't make a decision in Raleigh this week is a lot. And, you know, but hey, they didn't pass one last year, but we'll have one. So thanks everybody coming today. We appreciate it. And we'll continue to work hard and move forward. At this time, we will adjourn today's meeting.